Welcome everybody to episode 18. We are going to be talking about self-care and we are interviewing Kippi about meditation.
The material and information presented here is provided by lived experience youth and for general information purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed are of the guests of our podcast own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of Youth Move.
So, on this new episode that we have going on, we are going to be talking about self-care and why it is important because we have the holidays coming up and it's one of those things where it's kind of a bit of a touchy subject for most people, but we want to give people some tips and tricks on how to take better care of yourself for the holidays because the holidays can be a little stressful for a lot of people and having time to yourself is a little bit difficult around these times. So, my question to you guys is what are some ways and some tips that you guys can give to the audience that can help them with their self-care, or what is your definition of self-care?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good question. I think for me, my definition of self-care is doing things that help me be a better me when I'm in an emotional turmoil. For example, mine is like I love taking bubble baths to just help chill me out. Or I just got a diamond painting thing that I've never done before, and it's super awesome. So just doing things that are specifically around like what you want to do and not having any care in the world of what's going on.
Yeah, I'd like to continue going off that point of not having any care in the world. I'm personally glad that we could talk about something more positive today. The last episode was definitely a little bit more of a contentious topic about how we treat people experiencing homelessness like sludge. But I'm so much happier that we can discuss something such as self-care because it's important for us, especially because we are working some very stressful jobs. Not all of us are, but a lot of people today are working some very stressful jobs. And I think that it's important that when we're on during the holidays, during the break, that we need to just be able to unplug. And I'm not just talking about from work. I hate to admit that I'm usually the one that checks my work email at least once a weekend or so, because I do occasionally get messages over the weekend. But I think that it's important that during this time, you need to just ease the tension and come back in the new year rejuvenated. And another way of unplugging is just trying to stay away from social media or maybe lightening up on the news cycle. Like I said, there's a lot of very angering headlines that we might be, that we might encounter. And so the reason why I say it's important to just unplug from those is because it gives us the time to learn about something new about ourselves in particular, to reconnect with families as well. And like I said, it just allows us to rejuvenate ourselves. So I think that's what's going to be most important for me personally heading into this holiday season is just staying away from these electronic devices. And I think that should be a New Year's resolution, but then again, that would be gone by January. So, I mean, I just got to try to do it more often.
Savannah, what are your thoughts on this?
So when I hear the word self-care, I feel like it's kind of like just maintaining, like maintenance on yourself, maintaining your emotional wellness, mental wellness, physical wellness, just everything around. So then you don't feel off balance. Sometimes I feel off balance where it's like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep. So now I got to drink a bunch of caffeine to get through the day. And then I'm still like kind of off tilted, kind of like a tilt-a-whirl. If it tilts too far, and then you get dizzy and then vomit everywhere. But like if I'm angry at something or I just need to really express my emotions physically. I like go punch my pillow or scream into it or go take a walk and walk so far where I just forget I'm angry. I may wind up in the mountains somewhere, but I'm not angry anymore. And with nature, and I also like doing healthy habits or healthy hobbies, swimming in the summer, or like watching a good documentary about strange science or strange evidence of the show that I've been watching lately.
That's really good, you guys. The thing that I've noticed with self care is that engaging in self care routines has been clinically proven to reduce or eliminate anxiety and depression, reduce stress, and increase happiness in so much more when it comes to these situations. So, another thing that I've thought about when it comes to this situation is like people like to write, like me, such as myself. I'd love to write. So, journaling is one of those things that can also help you when you are having a rough time or things of that sort. Because when I'm stressed, I honestly put on my computer, I'll title it brain dump because why I keep everything. I decide to keep everything, but I will title it brain dump and then I'll just write everything from to-do lists to like, dang, I really like that one song, but I can't remember how it goes. So I'm just gonna type it out and see if I'll remember it, stuff like that. But that also helps with your brain. Another thing that I like to do is meditation. And a lot of people don't really know what like meditation is, which I can't really find like the definition for it, but it's in my brain, it's more of the you are trying to keep yourself at a calm state so you aren't putting yourself in a stressed or a stress induced environment or space for yourself, trying to keep those at bay. And so we have Kippi with us today, going to discuss with us about what it is to meditate and how to. And I would honestly like to hear from Kippi. What you got to say, Kippi?
Yeah, no, thanks for inviting me today. And I always, people know me with lots of different hats, but I always say, well, people say, well, why are you into this meditation stuff? And I'm going to give you a couple reasons why. My work is I did a lot of work. I'm a somatic therapist. That's a weird thing but it's a body mind connection. So there was a book out years ago which was called The Mindful Brain, and it just said the body is the brain, like, and we sense everything through our body. And everybody who talks about trauma and sadness and grief and happiness and joy, just think about it for a second. Think about anything that happens. It's not just in your head, right? Do you feel it in the body? And is that true for you guys? Like, do you feel stuff in your body? And they can't see you nodding, but I will tell you, I see a lot of nods. But part of me, as I dove into this, is because I have some children that, had struggled with depression and other challenges, right? And it just was a way to slow down. And even for me, I'm a trauma survivor myself. It was a way to slow down. So I actually took a lot of courses, have a practice because of my background. I have a meditation practice. That's what meditation is. It's a practice because you have to get better at it every day. I have teachers I follow. And meditation is basically taking a pause. And it is really like, I love this. I found a definition because you said that, and it says meditation is defined as a mind and body practice focusing on interactions between the brain, the mind, and body and behavior. And really, it is that place where all you need to meditate is you find a quiet location, you find a few minutes to yourself, and you just breathe. That's all you have to do to meditate. So I'll take you guys through a meditation on it. But what they do say in research, which is really important, is what a meditation does is it slows down what I call the monkey mind or the brain of just keep going and going and going to take a pause back. And it causes you, or the goal of it is to get neutral and turn your mind into what I call a beginner's mind. That's what they call it in Buddhism, is to take a step back and be the observer of what's going on so you don't get trapped in the cycle. And what they are saying is mindfulness should be something people do every single day. It's proven to help with heart conditions. It's proven to help with Emotion is proven to improve well-being on all levels. So meditation is easy. So I'm going to show you the couple steps to do it, right? There's lots of different types of meditation, but all meditation starts with is the breath. And so if you want to start a simple meditation practice, just find 3 minutes of a day that you can sit down and you can breathe in. And all it is my first meditation teacher said this: breathe in, and in your mind, you're counting, breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And you're just slowing down the breath. And by counting your breath, it turns off the ability for your mind to get captured in your thoughts, right? So that's step one. And you could just say, I'm going to take 2 minutes. And I do this every day. I have a timer on my phone, and every hour for 2 minutes, you guys don't know I do this, right? But I schedule my meeting shorter, and I just take 2 minutes where I just breathe in and breathe out, clear my mind, and then I can show up. So that's one way to meditate. Another way to meditate is to come up with a mantra that you're interested in. And you just repeat the mantra. And I use 8, and there's a lot of reasons why I use 8, but I'll repeat a mantra 8 times. One of my favorite mantras I use right now, this is what I'm practicing with. So it's called a practice, right? Because you get better at it, is what is mine will not pass me by. So that's that thing about if you're frustrated and like, why are they getting this? Or I'm trying to keep my job, or I can't pay my bills, or I don't know what's next for me. That's my practice right now. And I just sit there and I just say, what is mine will not pass me by. What is mine will not pass me by. Close my eyes and I say it 8 times. And what it does is you feel different after you do that. And then there are guided meditations, which is another easy way you could dive into this. And you can just Google those and find them. We actually have with Youth Move National, Tay, who you guys heard on an earlier meditation he just did for Indigenous Month. He just did a mindful meditation that is available, and we'll make sure to get that link and post it in our social media so people could see that. But you can do guided meditations where someone is talking through something that you follow along, and it leads you, on to something else. And a guided meditation, which I've done with you all, and if you guys want me to do one with you, I will. So we can do a real short one here. But that's another way that you can do it. And here's the last one. I forgot the fourth. One of my favorite teachers in Buddhism, somebody who teaches you something of a certain stature is called a teacher, was a person named Thich Nhat Hanh. He spent a lot of time here in Colorado, and he's not with us anymore in his physical form, but he believed in walking meditation. And in walking meditation, I'm a walker, but when you do walking meditation, you know how you step with your toe out and you kind of do your rock? In walking meditation, I step with my heel and roll to my toe. And I just slow my walk down, and I spend my time, and all I do is say, look at the trees. And I'll just notice that. Feel the breeze. Listen to the sounds. I remind myself to be present with what's going on outside, and it just calms me down. So that is some ways to do meditation. You can use it anywhere you want. Gratitudes. A lot of people will do a gratitude before going to bed. That's a meditation too. So I'm going to pause there and see if you guys have questions, or if any of you do something like this, because a lot of people meditate and it's not a religious practice, right? It's not anything to do with religion. It is just a process to slow your brain down. And it's showing that brains can reform, like their neural pathways change through meditation. So it is one of those really powerful ways that we can change how we see the world. So anybody else do any of you guys meditate or do anything like that? And what has it done for you?
I have meditated, but it's been a hot minute for me to meditate because I've been in that awkward space of like, I have to have this in order to meditate. I have to have that, which that's another thing with meditation. You really don't need a special bean bag to meditate with. You can literally meditate on your bed, or you can meditate on the floor. You can meditate in your office chair, and I've literally have tried to make myself be like, oh, I meditate with this certain pillow. So I've been trying to get myself out of that. So I don't know. What would be your suggestion for that?
No, I agree with you. You don't need anything to meditate except the ability to breathe in and breathe out, and a few minutes where you aren't feeling like you're going to be distracted. And that can happen anywhere. And I get on a plane, that's the first thing I do is start meditating before my plane takes off, because it just helps me feel more comfortable, right? I know people will do this too, like if they have a busy day at week and they'll just say, "Can we pause a minute?" Been known to do this in a meeting. Can we all pause a minute and just take a few deep breaths? That's a form of meditation. So just so you know, you need nothing. It's just ability to pause and breathe. And, there are meditators out there that have a seated practice. So in Buddhism, some people will call it a seated practice. And in a seated practice, there are different ways you can do it. And I got there too. It's like, oh, it has to be perfect and I have to have a chair. And then I got out of my practice. So for me now, it's just a little bell and doing it every day. Has anybody done something that felt like meditation that you haven't called it that?
I learned something about tapping when I was really young before it became a huge thing recently. My stepmom used to do tapping, and that used to be awesome. Like just being able to say these mantras while tapping to help program your brain. I think the word is called like neuroplasticity.
Mhm.
Like it helps with like recreating brain waves or brain cycles or brain pathways, something like that. And it's just awesome.
Yeah. Do you guys want to try meditation real quick? And then we can jump back up to the broader self-care topics, because as we finish, I'm going to give you another idea of something I do, which is great. So we're going to do a simple meditation. We're going to take about 5 minutes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to invite everyone listening real quickly just to go find a place where you can stop for a minute and just pause. So wherever you are, just pause, except if you're driving, don't do that, right? So here we go. So just take a couple deep breaths. I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, and we're just going to breathe in really loud and exhale loud enough that you can hear it. And I'm going to do that so you can hear and not be embarrassed. So breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. And I'm just going to ask you, wherever you are, is just to imagine that there is a big gold chain attached to your sits bone. And at the bottom of this gold chain, it goes down to the center of the earth, and just drop it down and allow it to spin. And as it spins, just feel your feet feeling more grounded to the earth. Just feel what it feels like to be sitting and attached to this planet we all call home. And as you settle in, take another big breath and just imagine bright colors coming up from the bottom of your feet through your legs. Right now, I see green, but just see what color you imagine flowing up through your legs. And as it comes through your legs, just let it kind of go back into the earth and help you feel grounded here. As you have that flow going, let's talk about the universe and all of that amazing cosmic energy, or that part of you that just wonders about what is and what can be. And I like to imagine this as just like this gold light of stardust just falling down on me. And as that comes down, I just see myself wrapped around it, and it's just swirling around me. And so I'm going to take a big breath, just let that energy flow through my body. And as we sit here today, I'm just going to say a couple words and just see how they resonate through you. And also take note if they get stuck anywhere in your body. I am enough, and I'm welcome here. I am enough, and I'm welcome here. Today is showing up, and there's opportunities unfolding that will lighten my step and feed my heart. Today, there are opportunities coming to me that will lighten my step and feed my heart. So just take a moment in your own time and let whatever words I just said just flow through you, and just see what comes up for you. And remember, in these moments of silence and pause between each breath is where magic happens. So don't be afraid of the silence and give yourself permission to not fill the space. And then I'm going to ask you to take another deep breath in. And on the next breath, go ahead and open your eyes and come back into the land of the horizontal. So that was exactly 5 minutes. Anybody feel a little different right now?
Yeah, I'd definitely say that that was very calming, with the exception of the ambulance in the background that at the very beginning. But by the end, I was definitely more relaxed. And I think that we all could use being relaxed, even for those that are working very stressful jobs.
Anybody
What
else?
happened?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, what happens when some words kind of get like, it wasn't a pain, but like, so enough was kind of like in my stomach. And
Yeah.
then the heart one was like kind of in my stomach too. And then step was like actually in my feet. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if like that means anything. It was a weird feeling.
Yeah. And no, that is really good that you noticed that. And for me, with guided meditation, sometimes we forget to acknowledge the fact that the words that are coming in can get stuck in our body somewhere, right? And from how I look at that is right, the word enough is a charging word for all of us, right? But the fact that it's in your belly, from my practice in my tradition, the belly is the solar plexus. That's where we have our fire and our energy. And so if I was just to look at you and say, my guess, and so tell me, Savannah, if this is true for you, right? Is the reason where the word enough got stuck in your solar plexus is that you have fire there and you're ready to claim that you're enough, right? You think?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, not like, I guess that would be the burning kind of feeling, but then like it wasn't pain, but it was just like there, like, you know how you have a hiccup and then you swallow the hiccup. It
Yeah.
was kind of like that.
Yeah, and so, like, for me, that's just my guess, but it would be like, when I notice when things stick, so, like, I'm just kind of translating, but it is kind of thinking through that and saying, "Gosh, it was in my belly, like, I feel that, that's important to me," which means there's a new way where you're looking at yourself and you're saying, "I am enough." So you leave this meditation with a little simple sense of self-care that I'm going to claim myself because I know I'm enough, and I'm ready, like, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to do that, and I think that self-care is all about that ability to take those few moments and to recharge what we know about ourselves. And I think, Cooper, you said this, that beats us out of us every day, right? So it kind of beats it out of you like, oh my gosh, my boss said this to me. My roommate said this to me. I went to the store and someone said this, and you kind of beat it out. And then all of a sudden you say, oh, I am enough. And you have a little more confidence. And they found that with meditation and self care that people show up. They stand a little taller after doing this. They feel a little bit more confident. So that would be what I would say. The one about the heart is an interesting one, right? We as humans guard our heart so much. And it's because whether or not we agree or believe this, we've all being in groups, you get harmed in groups. Yeah, we get harmed being around people. There's a lot of stuff that hurts us and we protect that. And so when your heart warms up, it's this part where I always say to myself in my self-care, if I notice something and I feel it in my heart or different places, or if I feel it in my throat, it's like, is there something I need to say? If I feel it in my heart, a lot of it is saying, is there something there I need to heal? And that's I might pivot my self-care to, right? I might pivot my self-care to that because in those moments of silence, something came up and it's like going, ooh, I didn't know that hurt me before, but probably people notice because I'm reacting, right? And when you don't have good self-care, you can be a little bit, at least I know I can be a little bit pushy. Does that help, Savannah, or others?
Yeah, yeah, that helps a lot. Thank you.
So I'm going to give you one other tip or thing. There is this thing out there, and you can find it, but it is a practice I use, and it's called the Miracle Morning. Takes me a total of about 10 minutes, and I'm not great at it, but I'm just going to throw this out there. But it starts with silence, right? So meditation is silence, and maybe you spend a couple minutes in silence or meditation, and then it goes into affirmations, right? So, I gave a couple affirmations in that meditation, right? And so you say something positive to yourself, you visualize what it's going to look like. That's a simple meditation thing. And then afterwards, there's other steps in this, but you scribe. Just like Ray said, you journal down what you felt afterwards. And it's just a way to kind of keep a tally of yourself. And it might be just a sentence or two. I write it on I have a date planner. Many of you guys have one of those, right? That virtual calendar. I always write one of those sentences in there. And I do, the one so I talked about, what is mine will not pass me by. You know what I was working with last month a lot? Small steps are enough. That was the one that just kept coming up. And so that's the other thing that meditation does. It might give you your mantra that you practice with throughout the month.
I hope you know that, like, all of this stuff that you're saying right now, I'm literally writing it down as we speak in my notes. What is mine will not pass me by is such a good mantra. Like, when I heard it the first time, I was like, that's really powerful. And then small steps are enough. That's something that a lot of people don't realize, that small steps usually take you to the bigger steps that you need to, and you trying to make those big steps instead of taking the smaller ones, you often kind of neglect the fact that you did smaller accomplishments and things of that sort. And so it's a really good thing that we are addressing that, because a lot of the young Americans that are here are more stressed out than ever. And nearly half of Gen Z says that they aren't doing enough to manage their stress. And so with saying that small steps are enough, that gives them the power to let them know that even if you are taking a small step, it will matter later on.
Okay. Yeah. I just think that it's important for us to, whether it's saying a mantra to ourselves or taking a few deep breaths, just carving out 10 minutes every day to do whatever is necessary to get ourselves in the right state of mind. It's very important, especially for those. I know we definitely live in a world where, our managers or our families, even, there's this kind of hustle culture around, oh, we always have to be productive at some point, whether at least from 9 to 5, or for many people even longer than that. I think that it's counterproductive to ask people to be productive 100% of the time, because then you'd be overworking others. I think that it's important to be able to have a few minutes to ourselves, that even though, we're not necessarily accomplishing anything, or are also accomplishing something that helps us feel better about ourselves. And that in turn helps us to be better at our work and have better personal lives as well. So that's why I think that practices such as meditation are productive, even if they don't seem productive on the surface. So just wanted to get that out there. I think that it's important to, yeah, just have a few minutes to ourselves, because I don't want to overwork myself, and neither should you.
I call that my secret single behavior. And I have all sorts of things I like to do when I'm alone that are good for me. So I love Lizzie's with taking a bath. That's one of my go-tos. The other thing I love to do is I love to get in the kitchen and cook something. That's like something that really is self-care for me. So I love that idea, Cooper, of just doing something for yourself and taking those minutes.
I was gonna add, I think I had a mantra that I used that I didn't even know it was one. I used to say, just do one thing at a time, because if I get stressed out, it'll be too much. And I would just like repeat that, just one thing at a time, like one day at a time. It really helped me through a lot of stuff.
We have been saying a lot of important things about self care, We have been able to give mantras and have a nice little mini meditation session. So, with the audience, I would really like for you guys to comment and share you guys' mantras or things that you didn't even think was a mantra and write them down because some of them they might be really well and some things you just didn't even realize. So if you guys could do us a favor, I challenge you guys to write down or comment all of your mantras or your self-care tips because we might have missed a few. So that's another thing that I would like for you guys to go on and kind of going forward with self-care and adding some things to it. Did you guys know that in a national survey, people responded that self-care enhanced self-confidence 64%, increased productivity 67, and happiness at 71%? How do you guys feel about that?
I feel like we should be spreading the word more.
I like being happy and doing things that make me happy. I think the more we speak about it, the more it gets out, the more people that can get a hold of it.
I think it also just makes sense. It's kind of like a cause and effect type thing. You know, if you're feeling down and out, then you go do something for yourself. It'll automatically, well, it should automatically raise your serotonin level and everything. Actually, in your brain, exchanging those chemicals back and forth to make you even more happier or an emotional stable person.